This is Dabu7. We have many different American fast food chains out there getting busted here for claiming that they're using all white meat chicken, and it's far from that in what they're using. And you're talking big time chains out here, like McDonald's. We've talked about McDonald's plenty of times, that you shouldn't be eating this stuff. You've seen all the videos where the stuff's been sitting on a shelf for 5 years and it doesn't look like it's been there a day. It's crazy. Well, they go through this list talking about all these different companies, even Wendy's, saying that only 56% of the meat is chicken breast. The other 44% is a concoction of all types of other stuff. I think people should know these things. Carl's Jr., pretty much the same thing. Subway, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, Burger King, Domino's, Dairy Queen. The list goes on and on here. In many of these places, trying to put out a statement saying that their chicken strips are 100% white meat with nothing else in there. And it's just a lie. Where they've got all these different additives in there. Soy protein. They have wood pulp put into some of these chicken sandwiches to give it flavor and to boost the protein content and all this other stuff. But it's sickening what's going on here. It's not even what you think it is. So we're out here arguing against the plant-based stuff and against the fake stuff like the Bill Gates stuff. But at the same time, half the stuff out there isn't even what you think it is. So just a heads up here. I'm going to leave a link below. If you guys know of any other places, drop it in the comments section. Join me for the live streams Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, Dabu777. You'll find links below. Hit that subscribe button for more.
Okay, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Quadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutation you Akim out there that push this word in truth and in sincerity. This is all prophecy. You got these American fast food chains, such as McDonald's, and who eat McDonald's these day and age? When you pass by McDonald's, just look into the store. You're going to see a lot of obese women in there, behind the counter and purchasing that food. So you got the workers, they obese, and you got the people in the store buying the food, they obese. That show you something about that food. That's not real food. Just like Dabu said, it's been, this one guy took a Big Mac and put it on a grill and blazed it with a torch. The only thing that singed a little bit was the bread. Everything else remained the same. You had this one Edomite, put a McDonald's burger away for 20 years. And it did not decompose. She was to tell you something about McDonald's. Not only McDonald's, White Castles, Burger King, Wendy's, Albies, we have the meats. It came out, I read an article on it that they had human meat in the freezer. Albies, we have the meats. You have the meats, all right. You're eating human flesh. You're eating human flesh. And this prophecy is prophesying Daniel. Not Daniel Slack, it's prophesying this book of Ezekiel. The 4th chapter. If you want to read the whole chapter, I mean, it's good, but we want to get straight to the point. It tells you in the 13th verse that, I'm going to get it, matter of fact. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the sons of Israel, it says children of Israel, eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, wherever I would drive them. Because we were scattered off the 4 corners of the earth. But the main scattering is in the main place where America is, I'm saying where a lot of Jakes are at, is in America. And that word America means bitter. Amariko, which means bitter. And everything is bitter here. The culture was nothing but a culture of death. the food, the morale, everything here is bad for you, man. Let's read that again. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread, the defiled bread. Defiled bread. Let's get into that defiled, that were defiled. Unclean. Eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles. GMO foods. Shrimps, lobsters. In the South, in Mississippi, they eat raccoon, woodchuck, alligator, all unclean foods. So this is, hey, so then you wonder why people have high blood pressure, heart disease, they obese. Look at the food they eat. I don't eat in no fast food restaurants, no McDonald's, no Burger King, none of that, man. Any man eating McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, they got demons on them. Because that food is not real food. It's spliced with different, all kind of unclean things. For instance, you got farm raised salmon is spliced with spider genes. It's spliced with all different other kind of unclean things within that salmon. So who want to eat farm raised salmon? Everything in America is defiled. The people, the food, the air, the water, everything is defiled, man. And this is prophecy. This is prophecy. It's Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord Yahweh said, even thus shall the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles. Aren't we scattered among the Gentiles? It says, where I will drive them. Amen. This prophecy, the Lord not lying. It's right here in prophecy. It's right here in prophecy, man. Eating defiled bread. Come on, man. It says, this is Hosea chapter 9, verse 3. It reads, it says, I'm going to start at the first verse. It says, rejoice not, O Israel, for joy as other, rejoice not, O Israel, for joy as other people, for thou hast gone a whoring from thy power, thou hast loved a reward upon. Slack, let me read that again. Slack, let me read that again. And turn on some lighting here real quick. It says, rejoice not, O Israel, for joy as other people, for thou hast gone a whoring from thy power. Thou hast loved a reward upon every cornflower. The floor of thy winepress shall not feed them, and the new wine shall fail in her. They shall not dwell in the Lord's land, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, which is America spiritually Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria, which is another spiritually Assyria is America. Egypt, Assyria, Nineveh, all equates to America. Eating unclean things in America, such as octopus, shrimps, lobsters, crabs, oysters, scallops, swine's flesh. You know, you got a lot of people out here, if you present them with some deer or some pork, they can be like, oh, I don't want no deer. I don't eat deer. Hell no. But they'll grab that pork and devour that pork in a heartbeat. Whether it's pig ears, pig feet, pig nuts, pig ass. They devour that shit. But something clean that only eats vegetables, they will frown upon it and shun it to eat something from an unclean beast, such as a pork, such as a pig, swine's flesh, and other bugged out things they eat. People in the South, they, like I mentioned earlier, people in the South, they eat woodchuck, squirrel, which is nothing but a form of a rat. Woodchuck, form of a rat. Squirrel, raccoon, alligator. They got something called gumbo, a mix of all kind of unclean things. Crawfish. What else? I mean, you name it. If it's unclean, they eat it. And that's privacy, eating unclean foods in the land of our captivity. And you can't tell these people nothing. This is a metropolis, just like the Apostle Gabal always bring out, and it's designed for the convenience of women to walk across the street, get themselves some unclean burgers from McDonald's. Like I said, you don't have to believe me. Good, let's stick your head into a McDonald's. Stick your head into a McDonald's and look at the employees and the people that's buying the food, and majority of them are obese or on their way to being obese. Terribly out of shape. Stomachs hanging over their belly where they can't see their feet. This is the condition of the people in this defiled land, which is called America, from all the defiled foods. Not only the food, the air we breathe is defiled. Chemtrails, fluoride in the water. We need salvation. We need to be taken out of this land. This land needs to be destroyed from all the defiled things that's being pushed in this land. And most of the food and most of the preservatives, like the cereal, like the people that eat the cereal, like the Captain Crunch, cornflakes, Tony the Tiger, Fruit Loops, all that shit is bad to cross seas because it's filled with poison. But yet, it's legal in America to eat it. America is the most unhealthiest nation on the planet. And it's not even a nation, the unhealthiest corporation on the planet of the earth. You put a plate, some lean deer meat with some vegetables, and a nice little cup of yayan, guess what? They're going to shun that for some peinine, which is pork shoulder, rice, mixed with pork gravy. They'll eat that. But when you put a nice healthy meal in front of them with some vegetables, some nice lean deer meat, which is excellent, they're going to shun that and go for that defiled food. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I'm not going to make this video too long. I'm just going to get to it. Hey, when you read the book of Daniel, the first verse, starting at the fifth verse, you want to read the whole story, but for the sake of time, you just get to the point. When you read the story, the king, which is Nebuchadnezzar, matter of fact, you know what? Let's just get into it, man. Let's just get into it because, bringing our points and getting into the story is totally different. Now, here we go. I'm going to start at the third verse. And the kings, which is Nebuchadnezzar, spake unto Ashpenaz, if I'm pronouncing it right, Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the sons of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge and in understanding, science, and such as had ability to in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. And it reads, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, which was unhealthy foods. Fried meat, fried this, fried that. A lot of fried food is not good for you. You could bake it, you could grill it. But eating excessive a lot of fried foods and a lot of meats without any vegetables is really bad for you. It's bad for your colon. It's bad for a lot of things. You know? It says, especially if it's unclean things. It says, and the king appointed them, this is Daniel chapter 1, verse 5. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and unto Hananiah Shadrach, and unto Mishael, and to Meshach, and unto Mishael, Meshach, and unto Azariah Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself with the king's meat, or that unclean, unhealthy food, or that fried, greasy foods that the king was eating. You know, he didn't want to defile himself with that. It says, now God had brought Daniel. It says, now Yahweh had brought Daniel unto favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who have appointed your meat and your drink. For why should ye see your face worse likened than the children which are of that sort, of your sort? Then shall ye make me in danger my head to be to the king. It says, then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over. It says, Salakia. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Meshach, and Azariah. It says, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat. Now, pulse is vegetables and water to drink. Vegetables and water, not excessive drinking of wine, not fried foods, not unclean foods, but vegetables, which is pulse, which is vegetables, and water to drink. And let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the sons that eat the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with us, with thy servants. Because in other words, if they look better than us, then deal for us according to them, how you want to deal. It says, so we can send it unto them, in this matter, and prove them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the sons which did eat of the portion of the king's meat, because they was eating unhealthy foods. They was not eating vegetables. You can eat meat, but you gotta have vegetables to go with it. The vegetables gotta out overweigh the meat that you eating. That's why you got a lot of unhealthy people in America, because they eat a lot of unhealthy foods. They eat a lot of meats. Try to get Jack to eat vegetables. They don't want to have it. They don't want none of that, man. They rather eat fried foods, potatoes, not organic mashed potatoes, but synthetic mashed potatoes bought in a box. They rather eat that. They rather eat McDonald's or pork. They rather eat squirrel. To eat a squirrel, you got to have demons on you. To eat a raccoon, you got to have demons on you. But that's what they eat in the South. mainly what I know they eat, because my father's from Mississippi. So I've seen them eat woodchuck. Woodchuck is like it's a big ass water rat. Or beaver. Alligator meat. To eat that, you got to have demons on you. But that's what they eat in the South. A lot of Jakes eat that. And that's why they obese and unhealthy. Let's get back to the scriptures. It says, back in Daniel chapter 1, verse 15, and at the end of at 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the sons which did eat of the king's portion, of the portion of the king's meat. Thus, Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse, which is vegetables. For it says, as for these 4 children, the Most High Yahweh gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them into before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them, and among them all was found not like Daniel, Hananiah, Meshach, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all manners of wisdom and understanding, and said that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and the astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even into the first year of King Cyrus. And then there you go, man. You see how Daniel didn't want to eat the king's meat, but ate pulse, which is vegetables, and drank water. And his skin and his complexion appeared fairer than the men that was eating the king's portion of the meat that the king acquired to them. And that's what's going on right now, man. You got Jake that's eating all kind of defiled foods and not eating healthy. That's why they dying of heart disease, diabetes, having strokes, heart attacks. Because they eating unhealthy things. And that's why majority of America is obese. Look at, case in point, I still watch Soul Train reruns. Look at Soul Train and how the people was back in the 60s and the 70s and how they look today. The women and the men in the 60s and the 70s, they was slim. They was in shape. Their natural hair, everything. Fast forward 40, 50, 60 years later, look at them now. Obese. Disease-ridden. Check that out. YouTube some Soul Train videos when they dance, Soul Train dancers while they dancing. And look at the difference between the women and the men and the women of the 60s and the 70s. And look at the men and women of the 2000s, 2020s. Look at the difference. Tell me it's not a big difference. It's the food they eating. So there you have. I'm not gonna keep on going on and on. I think the point has been made. We eating defiled food in the land of our captivity. And when I mean defiled food spliced with different other genes that's unclean. Spiders, ill. You got a certain amount of bugs that they're allowed to be in the food, in which Apostle Tahar brought out. It's crazy. We're living in a defiled land amongst defiled people. And we need salvation. We need deliverance. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Quadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.